The 2021 season is right around the corner, so it is fantasy draft season. And to get you ready for your draft, we're going to do a mock draft. We'll take you through 10 rounds of a half PPR, 12-team draft, and it's all coming up next. Hello, everyone. I'm Eric Lee.
And I'm Michael Wiley, and we're the Fantasy Football Consultants here, ready to talk about this year's draft. I'm so excited. It's going to be a great one.
Yeah, it's a favorite part of my season. So we're going to be doing not only this draft, 12-team, but we have another video where we did a 10-team draft. You can go to the description to check that out. What else have we been doing in the preseason, Michael?
Yeah, we've talked about the divisions, the AFC and the NFC. We break them all down by division. Separate shows where we talk about who we think is going to come out on top, how we think the division is going to come down, talk a little bit about who's going to make the playoffs, including some wild cards and some fantasy implications in each of those divisions. We've got those right here, I guess. And also we put those links in the description. So check them out if you would. And maybe you can tell them a little bit about what happens for those who participate.
Hey, it's pretty cool. If you enter in the comment section your order of finish, it's got to be before the season starts, including whether a team makes a wild card. You are eligible to potentially meet both Michael and I and co-host a show with us. How cool is that? So check out those videos. In fact, if you want to help support the show for free and not miss any content, hit that red subscriber button followed by the bell icon. All right, Michael, let's get in the studio and begin this 12-team draft. So here we are on the Fantasy Pros site. They do a great mock draft. We're setting it up for a half PPR, of course, a snake draft. This is 12 teams. We're going to pick 11th.
Let's get ready to rumble!
All right, who will we get at the 11th pick, Michael? We gotta wait. It's gonna take a while to get to us. So let's talk about the first round. McCaffrey's gone, Cook's gone, Henry's gone. No surprises there for the first three. So the fourth pick is Alvin Kamara. Then the fifth pick gone is a wide receiver in Devontae Adams. Zeke Elliott is gone at the sixth pick. Saquon Barkley, they took a chance on him. If he's healthy, that owner will be happy. Eighth pick is Aaron Jones. And then basically 5 running backs in a row right before picking this. Elliott, Barkley, Jones, Taylor, and Chubb. It is now our decision. Let's see what's going on. Michael, we have one wide receiver taken so far. So we have Tyreek Hill, who is in our top tier, still available at running back. Wow, so many running backs off the board here. We basically lost 9 of them, and all the tight ends are available for us. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think this is interesting to show the differences that you might see in a 10-team draft versus a 12. I do think it's not surprising to see running backs go a little bit earlier in a 12-team draft because of folks being afraid they're not going to be able to get one, in that second round that's of high quality. But the ones that we would have wanted to take at this spot are gone. And so I don't think there's, really a question of what to do in terms of ignoring the running back position. So it's really just between Tyreek Hill and, to me, the obvious pick here, which would be Travis Kelce. I think there's a pretty big drop off from the number 1 tight end to the number 2 in terms of likely, floor and even upside for that matter. Obviously, it looks like
2% of the people would disagree with you, Mike.
Yeah, exactly. So, gosh, I'm like loving the fact that Kelce's still on the board right here. And even though I think Tyreek Hill might do as well as Kelce or better, there's a lot more wide receivers to choose from who will do well, and the tight end drop off after 2 and 3 is huge. So I think clear choice is to go with Travis Kelce.
Yeah, for me, it's which Kansas City guy do you want here? Hill or Kelce? I like your analysis. So welcome to the team, Travis Kelce. All right. Well, we don't have to worry about tight end for the rest of the draft. And unfortunately, Hill was taken. It would have been too much to ask. He went wide receiver in Hill and Diggs. Ooh, that hurt. That would have been my next pick, either of those guys. So now, Michael, to me, let me tell you where I think the choices are.
Please.
We're not picking tight end. We're not picking quarterback. So the choices are running back or wide receiver. I do like Austin Ekeler of the guys remaining, and I actually kind of start to see a drop off. I think after that. I mean, everyone knows the negative of Ekeler. He's not going to get the 1 yard runs, right? But this is a half PPR league. So we're going to get some credit for all those pass receptions that he got. You can see his stats last year: 403 yards receiving in just 10 games. Phenomenal for a running back. But talk about the wide receivers. If you were going to go wide receiver, who would you want?
So I think I go DeAndre Hopkins here. I'm a big fan of him. He's you know, he's your prototypical Arizona receiver in terms of making sure, you know, kind of replacing Fitzgerald, who I think's out now. In terms of being a possession guy, he catches almost everything thrown his way. So I understand Ridley's the clear number one in Atlanta, but and he had a fantastic season. But I think he's just coming off an injury. Am I right there?
Yeah, he's dealing with an injury in this preseason. I just think Hopkins is the better option, and certainly the safer option. When I'm picking really early, I go more safer options, and as the draft goes on, I want to take more chances. But Michael, I'm going to argue pretty hard for Austin Ekeler here. That's who I would like to go with. Yeah. And I already gave my reasons. I feel like a drop off between these other guys.
And there's not going to be as much of a drop off in the wide receiver spot. Certainly, we're not going to get anyone of the caliber of the two that we just talked about at wide receiver. I think there's an argument for Najee Harris here. I think that he's going to have a very good year. But Austin Ekeler for sure is a known quantity. And so even if even if Najee is the number one, the question is, what are the Steelers going to do in the run game? And Najee's he's a rookie, so I think Ekeler is the safer choice. You got to go a little bit safe right here as our second pick of the draft.
All right, so there we go. Ekeler is off the board. We're going to get a lot of picks before us. We got to wait forever. But if we'll see if any QB goes off the board. That would be the first time I would start. I'm seeing a lot of QBs. All the QBs I would be interested look like they're gone. Wow. Right before us, Pat Mahomes went. Then Darren Waller. We don't care about tight ends. Keep picking those tight ends. Keenan Allen, Allen Robinson, quarterback Josh Allen, Mike Evans, Chris Carson, DK Dobbins, and CeeDee Lamb. So when we're looking overall at our different options, and just to remind folks that we have picked a running back and a tight end. Take us through. If we pick a running back, where would you like to go?
Well, the average draft spot isn't taking into account what happened to ETN, right? So ETN has been injured. He's out for the season, which means James Robinson, who was being discounted heavily because of ETN, could have a similar season. We have a new coach there, a new quarterback. So I think that could have a little bit of an impact on James Robinson. But I think there's a pretty big drop off after James Robinson here, even with Montgomery, who had a pretty good second half of the season with the Bears. So I think he's the clear number one on this list.
All right. If we're looking at wide receiver, I still kind of want to default to Chris Godwin as of these options. Now, the only thing that concerns me about Chris Godwin is Tampa Bay has so many weapons there, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think Godwin had a little bit of a down year this last year. Was he injured for part of I think he was. He only played 12 games. Yeah. I think Robert Woods is going to see some uptick though from Stafford. So I think there's that argument there. But because we know
and Amari Cooper will experience uptick with Dak Prescott.
That's right.
So
That's
you're
Although a lot of folks think CeeDee Lamb is the number one there, I think it's hard to say for sure that that's the case. In fact, I think Cooper's the number one coming in because he has the camaraderie with.
I think. All right, Michael, you're not going to like this, but what I would argue is I think a lot of these guys actually are pretty good, and I would expect that we're going to get a really drop down in value. I'd rather not use up both our running back slots. I think we should go wide receiver here. And I know how much you like James Robinson, but I tend to think that we'll still be able to get someone with some quality later. So,
yeah, if we're gonna go wide receiver, then don't go the running back first. But if we wanted a running back here because we thought there was just higher quality and a bigger drop off, then we would certainly go wide running back first, knowing that the guy drafting behind us is going to have to take at least one running back.
Yeah,
but I guess I can be swayed. Take me back to the running backs quickly.
Yeah, so some running backs, as you can see on the left side: Montgomery, Swift, James Robinson, Miles Sanders, Darrell Henderson, Josh Jacobs, Mike Davis, who we're both very high on, Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, a lot of good options in there in a half PPR league. So, okay, you've swayed me. Let's go with two wide receivers.
All right. So since I got my way on wide receivers, I'm going to let you pick the wide receiver here, and I'll pick the wide receiver coming back. So who do you want?
You know what? I think I'd go with Robert Woods here because of the Matthew Stafford upgrade.
Okay. All right. Let's see if the guy takes one of the decisions away from us. He goes Montgomery and Chris Godwin. All right, that's fine. That's cool. Took my boy. I can deal with that because honestly, I think Amari Cooper with Dak Prescott back. I mean, there's something to consider with Julio Jones. You know, I think the range of options on Julio Jones in this new team. I'm gonna argue for Cooper.
Amari Cooper's gonna have a good year.
All right, so we've got a year and a half before we get to pick again. But we now can start to consider quarterback if there's one that we like. And, one that I like went 5 picks ahead of us. Lamar Jackson, Kenny Golladay, Jamar Chase, a really exciting rookie, is gone. Odell Beckham is gone. Mark Andrews is gone. Keep picking those tight ends. And T. Higgins is gone. So if we're looking, let's remind everybody what our roster. We've got 1 running back, 2 wide receivers, and a tight end. So we still have to fill a starter at quarterback, running back, and wide receiver. So if we're looking at the QBs, we still got some interesting QBs that are still on the board, and the guy that we're spying has not picked a quarterback. Running back, we said we were going to wait. We still have 2 very exciting choices in Miles Sanders and Mike Davis. And at wide receiver, we have a slew of guys. Where would you like to go? I have a feeling I know. Hint, I think you're going here. But where would you like to go?
So I think we got to pass on wide receiver at this spot in terms of where the talent is versus the running back position. I think the question is whether or not how much better we think Dak Prescott will be, or Aaron Rodgers, I guess, if we like him better than those below him. I think there's a pretty big drop off after Aaron Rodgers. I know Russell Wilson could have another fantastic season, but he's just got such a bad offensive line. I think it's changing the amount of times he's, his approach has changed because of the fear of injury. And so, yeah, I want to hear your thoughts on Dak Prescott coming back from an injury. Obviously, he's much more of a running quarterback than historically he has been, at least, than these other guys.
Not more than Russell Wilson, but
not more than Russell Wilson has had to be. But Russell Wilson has changed his running in the last couple of years.
Yeah, the thing that makes Dak Prescott's running so valuable is he gets almost 6 TDs. There's speculation, will that drop off with his injury? Will they be more cautious with him? I don't know. As you can see from the stats, he was on pace for an obscene year in just 5 games, what he was doing. He's got a ton of weapons. It's a it's not an easy call here, which is why I would be more inclined. I mean, do you like Dak Prescott significantly better than Aaron Rodgers?
Not enough to not let that decision be made for us. So I guess I'm okay going and making sure we get the running back that we prefer.
Okay, and which is it that we prefer?
No, that's the question.
Yeah.
So again, this is the difference between a 12-team league and a 10-team league, right? In a 10-team league, the running backs, you might be looking at one of these guys as your third running back, right? But here, this is our number 2, right? And so I think you got to go a little bit safer instead of thinking more upside, right? And so I think Miles Sanders has a little more upside than Mike Davis does. But I think Mike Davis is going to be the bell cow back. He can catch the ball. And I think he's safer. Miles Sanders is, I think, a little more prone to injury. So I would be going with Miles Sanders if this was our third running back, but since it's our second, I think I'd go with Mike Davis.
Yeah, and I'll make it easy for us. I actually prefer Mike Davis. I love his role. There's nobody else there, and I think I trust the Atlanta offense, believe it or not, a little more than Philadelphia. So we'll go with Mike Davis. Put in the comment section if you think, nope, Miles Sanders was the way to go there. So you know who likes Miles Sanders? The guy who picked 12th. So he went with Miles Sanders and he snagged Dak Prescott. What a jerk. The choices are my man, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, to be fair, we could go wide receiver, but I think I would grab Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, again, Aaron Rodgers is our 6th pick. I think is pretty nice. So he's still a star, right? So that's who I think we go with.
Let's do it. You just look at those stats last year. He had an MVP quality year. All right. So look at those quarterbacks go off the board after us. Hurts is gone. Tannehill's gone. Brady's gone. Stafford's gone. You know who else is gone, unfortunately? Right before us is a wide receiver I really would have liked, Robbie Anderson. So I really want to fill our bench. And the right guy off the top of the board, I think, is a super safe pick with Tyler Boyd. Would love Brandon Cooks if I knew Deshaun Watson was playing. If we're going wide receiver, where would you want to go?
Yeah, so I think, Deebo Samuel's coming off of an injury this last year. He was off to a pretty dang good start before that happened. Will Fuller is opposite Devontae Parker. So I know Tyler Boyd also is competing with Jamar Chase, I believe, right? And T. Higgins, but I think he's the clear number 1 in Cincinnati right now. And you want a number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah, nothing special here at running back that I'm dying to deal with. So I'd say let's fill the rest of our starting roster here and pick Tyler Boyd. All right, so our little nemesis guy who always picks who we want, what's he gonna do? He picked Deebo Samuel and Ronald Jones. So we just have we'll pick 3 bench guys and wrap up the video. So we haven't been looking at tight end because we picked Travis Kelce, but just FYI, these are the guys that we could have gotten if we would have waited. So we've got, I'm a big fan of Corey Davis when I see this list. Why do I like Corey Davis? Is I think he's going to be the number 1 on Zach Wilson, and it looked on Zach Wilson's led offense in New York. And in the preseason, those 2 guys look like they really are developing a rapport. So I think I would snag Corey Davis to back up our 3 wide receivers and says in case something goes wrong. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always thinking right about now, you got to be thinking about that third running back because the injuries that happen, and you certainly don't want to be, left with someone who's not a starter or a question mark. But I think the challenge again in these 12-team leagues is, people focus on running back so much that you get down to kind of the scrap heap at the end, and those people are going to be around in the 11th and 12th round to some extent as well. And so I'd say there's no one here who's, I see some upside guys here, but those are risky folks. And so I think the other thing to talk about here is, as you get to the 8th and 9th, 10th round, you want to take a look at what, especially if you don't have a tight end or a quarterback yet, you want to take a look at what other teams have done in terms of filling those spots to see whether or not you need to start thinking about it. We filled those spots early because we were able to get some stronger players, obviously with the Travis Kelce pick. So I would go wide receiver here. I agree with all the commentary that you just made. I think I could go with Corey Davis.
Okay, I was hypnotizing you by putting my cursor over Corey Davis. All right, so really solid guy to come off our bench to protect us with 3 guys getting injured, 3 guys that potentially will have different bye weeks, so we're going to be playing him often, maybe even matchups. All right, so let's take a peek at where we stand. So we're just going to do 2 more picks to wrap up our 10 rounds. We're going to do running back or wide receiver in a combination of these next 2 picks. Devin Singletary is a guy who potentially could be the number 1 back on Buffalo. Zach Moss did get hurt at the end of the year, so his stats were a little better because of that. But man, if you're looking for a guy who's most likely to be the number 1 back, Singletary has the same problem as Edwards. He has a running quarterback on his team who's going to steal carries, potentially even at the goal line. Which running back do you want?
Yeah, I mean, and Gus Edwards actually also gets some receptions, not a lot, right? But he'll get a touch here in there. So I mean, Gus Edwards is a third running back option for us this late in the draft. I think he's a safe guy to make sure that you can plug in there on a week when you're missing someone else, and that's what we need to think about here, right? We have buys in the 6th and 7th round, so we're going to have to play this running back in that round. So I would go with Gus Edwards.
Okay, and I don't want to say this out loud because I'm sure the 12th guy will pick him, but I'm excited about Darnell Mooney still being available here, and I also really like Marquise Brown. I think he continues to be the number 1. In fact, I would go with Marquise Brown. You want Edwards, right? And
sure.
And watch me rage if he picks my man Marquise Brown. All right. I know you guys out there are hoping he picks Brown. All right, what will he do? He picks Gallup and Dallas Goedert.
We're saved.
All right. So can we agree to Marquise Brown?
Yeah, I like Hollywood Brown. Yeah, let's go with it.
Yeah, so that is our team. Here, we want to hear from you guys. Which is our picks that you like the most? And which pick do you think we're cuckoo with? Leave it in the comment section. As we already say, if you're like, wait a minute, I wanted to see you pick a defense and a kicker. My answer to that is get a life. If your league allows it, stream your defense. So pick a defense in the last round based on who their opponent is in the 1st and 2nd week. And then just pick up and drop defenses throughout the league, throughout the season. That's assuming your league allows you to do that and gives you enough points to do that. Kicker, just pick a kicker from a high-scoring team. Michael, thank you so much for joining us. It was awesome. Can't wait for the season. Check out this video because Michael and I did the same thing in a 10-team mock draft, and we want to remind you to check out our division shows. Take care, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.